Hi folks, Howard Schneider here. Welcome to Photoshop. Welcome to Photoshop and a very dark screen here. This, just to let you know, in the version of Photoshop I'm using, which is CS6, we have the option for creating an application frame, which I don't think we really had that before in previous versions. What that is, an application frame is sort of an actual piece of real estate that's like a context upon which you can set up all your documents. Okay, so it's a I think a more effective way of sort of visualizing the working environment. You don't need this. You do not need this in previous versions. Obviously, it's not available, but it's nice if you do have it. But personally, So anyway, welcome to Photoshop. Photoshop is a very powerful program, and it is what they call a raster-based program. And I'll show you what a raster-based program is. I'm going to open up a browser here, okay, and I did a little search here for rubies. Oh, rubies, yeah, so beautiful. Let's take a look at an image of a ruby, and I will show you what a raster image is. A raster image is native for continuous tone images. In other words, images that have highlights and midtones and shadows, and they represent an object typically. Um, and they seem this image, to my view, seems very high resolution, very sharp, very crisp. Okay, but let's see what happens when we take this image and we try to enlarge it. A raster image is basically built out of pixels, and these pixels only give you so much information that's all you get, so you cannot really enlarge it. So I'm going to let's just view the image. Okay, there it is. I'm going to right-click or hit my Control key on a Mac, and then save image as. I'll save it to the desktop, and right, okay, and I'll drag it from my desktop, open it up, so we can see it in Photoshop. Here we are in Photoshop, okay? So I'm going to use a little magnifying glass over here this is called the Tools window, down over here. We have already seen the application frame. We have a Tools window. That's where the magnifying glass came from and all these other goodies, okay? This other window here called Options is this header area upstairs over here. This modifies things that you've created using these tools. Okay. So anyway, here's my zoom tool. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, and this very crisp. Well, it used to be a very crisp image. Now that we're zooming in, let's zoom out a little bit. Look at that edge. It looks like there's a bunch of little stair steps. Okay, these are called jaggies. Okay, this is a highly pixelated image. This is what happens when you try and take a small image that has X number of pixels. And granted, remember, raster images are made up of pixels. But every image is shot at a particular resolution. And if you try and take this photograph and enlarge it beyond what it was originally shot at, then you're going to start losing definition, and it's going to start getting very soft and fuzzy. Just to let you know, if you design a logo or logotype, do not create that puppy in Photoshop. You will have this problem. So that if somebody, say if the client calls you up 6 months later and says, "Hey, we're having a great year. We need to take the logo you designed for us and we need to put it on the side of a building." Well, you got a problem. That's when we will be advising you to work in Adobe Illustrator. Illustrator is a vector-based program. When you view the video on Illustrator, you'll see what we're talking about. But logos and things that should be enlarged, anything that should be enlarged should never be created in Photoshop. You should have a clear idea of the final size of what you'll be working at. With a range maybe of about 5 or 10% in the worst case scenario. But you should have that idea in mind how it's going to end up. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. Now, we're just doing exercises. Okay, the exercises, don't worry about the fidelity of the image. Don't worry about the image looking like this. It's what we're dealing with is just design issues. It's not software issues. It's not resolution issues. I really don't care much about that for what our objective is. When you in the real world, when you're developing real products for real clients, then this becomes an issue. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that little introduction. Okay, guys. All right. Okay, so that is about rasterized images. Okay, let's create a new document. I'm going to close this one out. Okay, and we're going to go up to the File menu and create a new document. First thing we'll do is give it a name. And let's see, let's give it a size. Pixels are very tiny things, and just to give you just a decent sense of context here, I'm going to give it a size in inches. So 15 inches by 10 inches. And the resolution says 120. Let me tell you about resolution size. When you create an image for an online environment, it's going to be very small image. It'll be 72 pixels per inch. That's max screen. Max screens see the world in 72 pixels per inch. Windows tend to see the world in 96 pixels per inch. Don't ask me why they're different. That's just the way it is. Color mode. If you're going to be doing anything for printing purposes, like for a magazine, for a brochure, then you're going to be working in a CMYK color environment, and you're going to be working with a much larger resolution size. Okay, but being that we're going to be working in an RGB environment, which means that nothing's going to be printed, this is just going to exist on your screen, on a computer screen, then you can afford to use a smaller size and live at the lap of luxury that way. I'm going to go with 120 because I want a little more size to the kind of exercise images you'll typically be creating when you're working with the exercises. So I'm going to hit OK. Oh, before I do that, background contents. This says, hey, the original document you're creating, is it going to be a white background? Is it going to have a special color for its entire background? Or is it just going to be sort of like a transparent void, which has no commitment to a background color? Well, I'm going to go with a transparent void right now. I'm going to hit OK. And there you go. There is our first document. Now you'll notice that we have a background that looks like a gray and white tablecloth, or checkerboard. I'm sorry. It's or tablecloth. And this indicates that you are working on a transparent background. There is nothing here. There is the size of the format, the 10 by 15, but that is it. So you're just sort of basically working in a void. It's like a vacuum right now. So anything you put on this working area is that's all there is. Okay. I tend to personally like working on a white background. Okay, so I kind of like the sense of context. So I will go ahead and go up to File, Fill. Okay, see that? And I'm gonna, for all the choices I've got here, I can go with a background color, or I give it black or gray. I'm just gonna go with white. Okay, there's white. Fantastic. Good start. All right. I need a couple of more tools here. Okay, so we've already got this tool, your tools tool, and we've already got the control tool. And I'm going to add one more here. This is sort of like the starter set. Layers. Ta-da. Okay. I'll show you what layers do later on, but they're really one of the most amazing things I rely on it so much. And it's been part of Photoshop and Illustrator for eons, I think. Maybe since the beginning. Some of you out there might know. Anyway. Okay, so layers function as sort of like this. If you had like 5 elements within your working area, like a flower, a piece of type, a car wheel, and another piece of type. It'd be best if you put all 4 of those things on 4 separate four separate entities that you can manipulate independently of each other. So if you take the car wheel that's down over here and you want to move it over here, that little piece of type down over here does not get affected by it. It doesn't move at the same time. So that's why you have multiple. We want to create multiple layers for multiple things. Okay. So the first thing we got here is basic. This is ground zero. This is your basic layer. Okay. Let's add something here. Okay. Um, let's do this. Let's place an image. Let's get an image from my file and place it somewhere. So I'm going to go up to File menu, down to Place. Okay, and let's pick something. These are cool images. I like these. Let's see here. Let's take a fish. Let's get a fish. Hey, we got a fish. All right, great. Okay, so here is our fish. It's kind of floating in the middle of our document. Let's double click. Okay, we'll double click, and now it's placed in a new layer. Okay, and so now we can take our fish, and using one of the tools up here, namely the move tool, and if you put your cursor over any one of these tools, wait a second or two, and you'll see the name of the tool and the little shortcut. So if I just press V on my keyboard, come on, there's V on my keyboard, I'll get the move tool automatically. Okay, I'm going to click that, and now I can move my salmon. Yeah, my salmon around. Okay. Oh, there he goes, breaching the surface. Okay. Now let's go back to our layer over here, and we have a small image, small like thumbnail image of our fish in this particular layer. Here's the name. Here's the name of the image itself. Photoshop, whenever you kind of import or place any item, will automatically give you the name of that item and the layer. Okay, so you know what it is you're dealing with. There's a little tiny bent piece of paper overlapping thingamajig right over here, a little tiny thing in the corner. That means that this image right now is called a smart object. And right now, as a smart object, Photoshop is not going to let you really kind of destroy this thing right now. I mean, eventually you can manipulate and just do all kinds of amazing things with this fish. But right now, Photoshop is just going to let you do a few things, and that's it, just in case you want to destroy it altogether. But there are some things you will not be able to do. Okay, let's say if I let's see here. Got my fish selected. What I did here is I went on my Mac. I went down and held down the Command key, and then clicked here in the layer thumbnail once, and just once, and my image is now selected. I call this little moving dotted line. On a PC, you hold down the Control key, and then you hit your little thumbnail icon right down over there. Okay, so what if I wanted to fill this fish, this humble fish, with a color and make him a solid shape, like a silhouette? Well, as you see, I'm going up to Edit, and Fill is grayed out, meaning it's not available. Okay, so what I'm going to do, while I still, it doesn't matter if you have marching ants or not, I'm going to deselect the marching ants, or the moving dotted line, so you can see how to deselect that. Okay, and look at the shortcut. Command D or Control D. Control D on PCs would be your shortcut. But I'm going to deselect the marching ants, the moving dotted line. And now I'm going to go and, with that layer selected, go up to your layer menu and go down to rasterize, okay? And we're going to take, we're going to basically turn our smart object into a pixelized image, okay? So there it is, to a rasterized image. And there it is. You didn't see anything. The room did not get any colder or warmer. Nothing really changed. But now this is an image you can work with. So now let's select our friend the fish. Okay, now let's get those little marching ants going. Now let's pick something here. And I'm just going to pick a color. Okay, let's just pick make him a nice red salmon color. Why not? Okay. And hit OK. And now we have a salmon red-orange silhouette of a salmon. Very cool. Okay. Well, now you're going, gee, do I really need a silhouette of a salmon? I mean, I know it's a salmon, but maybe somebody else just thinks it's a weird letter J. I don't know. So there, if you wanted to colorize this thing, there are other approaches. But I'm just showing you that when you take your smart object and you rasterize it, now you can do things. You can do a world of things with this little guy. Okay. So all right. So now I've got this this fish filled in, and I want to not have the fish filled in anymore. What I could do is hit. Well, what I could do is undo the fill by going to Command Z, or just selecting this item off the menu, or hitting Command Z or Control Z on PCs. Okay. Okay, so I'm back to square one, fish one. Okay. I'm going to deselect them by hitting Command D or Control D. And let's do this. Let's see if maybe we can mess around with the color of the fish. Now, before we do that, you're looking at a black and white image, okay? For all you know, you didn't take this image. You don't know the origin of it, but it's important to understand what the color origin or the color presence of the fish is, of this image is. You go to mode, okay? And this tells me that this image is an RGB image, meaning that RGB color environment is the color environment of the internet, okay? Of anything on a monitor, it's an RGB environment. CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, is the printing environment world, the world of print. The world of internet is the world of RGB, red, green, and blue, okay? There's another world over here called grayscale, okay? And grayscale is sort of like, well, that's what the fish looks like. It's okay, it's black and white, but technically it's considered a grayscale type of image, okay? Some people, maybe a bitmap image, but right now, it's just a sort of generic term. Right now, we'll just say, yeah, grayscale sort of looks like that's its roots. But it's actually an RGB color image. So, and that's important because if I want to change the color of this, I would. There's ways of doing it in RGB and there's ways of doing it in grayscale. But I'll show you both. And in the image here, we can adjust the color balance. So let's go to color balance. Image adjustments, color balance. And here we got some sliders with our friends RGB, right, green, blue. And we're just going to play around with affecting the colors of midtone. Well, it's more about the shadows and the highlights because, well, you'll see. Okay, let's go into shadows and let's make things a little redder. Okay, maybe even a little more magenta. Okay, and maybe a little browner. Okay. Let's go into the midtones, and let's make things very light, very yellowish. And maybe a little redder over here. Things are trying to change now. Highlights. That's really, oh yeah, okay. Red or brown. And let's see how red we can make this. Okay. Now that's a pretty hot looking salmon. All right, and let's say, okay, we like that. Very good. So there's one way of executing a red salmon. Now let's say, gee, we made a lot of moves here. Photoshop is really not going to let us do a lot of. Oh, yeah, it will let us undo all the work we did in color balance. So you have to be careful there, but that's what I wanted to do in the first place. Because I'm going to show you the other way of colorizing this fish. the other way is to go back up to Image, Mode, and go to Grayscale. Okay? I don't have to merge anything. Okay. Yeah, please discard. Okay. So I'm going to go back up again to Image. Actually, you know what I'm going to do before I do anything? This is important. Let's say I really don't want to mess up this original fish. I love my fish. I'm going to copy this fish. So I'm going to copy the layer that this fish is on. So I'll have another layer, an identical clone of that fish to play with. Okay? I'm going to drag this layer down. See what I just did? Do it again. Click and drag down to the second icon from the right next to the trash, not the trash can, but a little bent paper icon down over here, okay? That will clone the layer. So I'm going to work with the copy, fish large copy layer. And now what I'm going to do is, well, it doesn't really matter at this point, but I'm in grayscale, but I'm going to mess with this guy right over here. This one right over here. Okay. So what I just did is I went to Duotone, do it again. Do it again. Grayscale, now I can do Duotone. Okay, Duotone means that you are now working in a two-color environment. So right now I have like this light green and then this more intense yellow-green. And if I wanted to go and have even deeper fun with color, you get tritones and watch out. You could really get classy and go with a what am I trying to do here? Come on, make it rewind. Go with. Oh God, I'm gonna do this. Okay. Anyway, we got a colorful fish here, and he's not red. Okay, but now I can click in these little graph areas and actually start playing with the shadows and the highlights and the midtones where they occur. Can you see what's happening? Watch the fish. So what's happening as I'm adjusting these curves. I can add a new one just by clicking once, and I've got a new position area in the graph. Okay, and I have another control agent over here. Okay, and if ever I change my mind, I can always drag them up and get rid of them. Drag them up and get rid of them. Okay, so let's hit that. And do this once, do this, and now it's getting a little grayer. Okay, I just don't like this color at all. I'm going to switch it to something a little warmer. Okay, and that's what I'm doing. Okay, let's say I like my quad tone. Okay, oh yeah, okay, well just call it. Gotta give them colors. Yeah. Okay, happy? Yes, we are. Okay, good. And then we can save it as an image for the internet. And this is something you can do with any image you make. In fact, this is what I'd advise you do when you upload any exercise you do, is save for the web. Okay? So let's say, hey, this is our fish. Let's use this fish. I'm going to hit Save for Web. Again, that's into the File menu. Save for Web. And here you have some options in order to save your image to the web. So I'm moving this around so you can see it has an alarm. It gives you a 100% preview of your image. And here it shows you the original image. I'm in the 4-up mode. Here it shows you the original image. Okay, and this shows you a version of the image that is a lot smaller in size. So the original image is a little over 8 megabytes. This image is only 77K, really minuscule. It's called 39 quality. You could take this all the way up to 100%. To 100 quality, but it's really not going to. We're still getting this really weird sort of red outlines here, and with a regular photograph, like just a portrait or something, you could succeed very well in maybe the 40 quality range and really save yourself a lot of room. But if you save something too low, the quality will just really suffer. I mean, compare this guy to this one. Now, we're looking at a flat graphic image of a fish, okay? And the mode that we're looking in right now, JPEG, is really more for continuous tone photographs, you know, and like a photograph of a car or a person or something that's not a flat graphic, okay? For flat graphics, we recommend you can try JPEG, but you're going to sometimes end up with weird little things like these outlines. We recommend you go to GIF. And a GIF, if we manage our colors correctly, and that's not taking place here. Oh, let's take it down to 4. Okay, we're seeing a little less of that red outline. But right now the GIF, which is really designed for flat graphics, is giving us a 53K image. Now, if you can see the flat areas in here, in this JPEG image, there's a little more variation in here. Not as much variation in these flat areas as there is here. That's why GIF is better than JPEG. All right. So, so you could save it. We're not going to save it right now, but we're just going to hit cancel. And so we have a fish. Fantastic. We're going to come back to saving for web when we take a look at another image we'll be creating that will be using our fish. So I like this fish. I want to use our fish in a different environment. So you can see I have a very interesting. For not being a realistic fish, this is still pretty interesting. So I'm going to take our fish. I'm going to hold down again the Command key or the Control key if you're a PC, and click our layer. And here we have our dotted line, moving dotted line. And I'm going to go up to copy, okay, and I'm going to create another layer with a fish on it. I want to go to paste, edit, paste, okay, and now we have another fish layer. So, but this one I want to start messing around with. I want to change his angle. I want to maybe make more of him. So I want to go up to edit, go down to free transform, which you could do with Command T or Control T, okay. And now I've got like a little bounding box around him with these dots, these square dots at the corners and at the sides. These allow you to change the size, which is a good thing, but unless you know a few things about what you're doing here, it could be weird. I'm going to hit Command Z or undo. What I mean is that if you maneuver any one of these corners, you will adjust the proportion or the size, the proportion and the size of this fish. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to then take the corner dot and do this kind of activity. You can see the fish has not changed proportion, but has changed size. However, if I let go of the Shift key, watch what happens. Now we've got that fish we always wanted, the 34-pound salmon, if you're into eating fish, I guess. I am. Yeah, but I'm holding down the Shift key and I'm back to my original proportion, okay? So a lot of times most 99% of the time I'm working in the proportion, working with the Shift key held down, so I like working in proportion, okay? So once again, we're still working in the free transform. So I'm gonna rotate our fish a little bit. So I'm gonna take the cursor, pull it outside. I don't know if you can see that. Let's increase the size of our cursor. Just hold on 1 second here. Oh, come on. Accessibility. Come on. Cursor size. Yeah, let's see if this helps us out a little bit. Yeah, okay, yeah. Big cursor. Let's go. All right. Done by Ruby. Okay. So now you can see that we have like a little curved arrow thing going on over here. So I'm going to rotate our fish until he's looking like he's following something. He's seeing something, okay? And that's great. But wouldn't it be nice if you see a lot of these guys, like a whole family of these things breaching the water? So what I'm going to do is I can do a couple of things. I can take our fish here. I can hold down the command key, click the layer again. We got the marching ants. I can go copy, then I can go paste, and I get a new layer as a bonus. Okay, and I got two fish. Good. Okay, I'll have one sort of off the edge of here, following his sister. Okay. Um, let's see. Now I'm gonna clone the same fish, layer number 2, and I should give that a name. Fish number 3. Fish 4. Okay, but I'm going to go back to fish number 1. And I'm going to try, show you a faster way of copying an item. I'm going to hold down, in the Mac, I'm going to hold down the Option key, and watch what happens. I get a double cursor, a black one and a white one, a double arrowhead, okay? In a PC environment, you'll be holding down the Alt key and the Control key while you click and drag. And there you have there you have the family, the growing family of salmon. Okay, so there's that. Okay, guys. Okay, so let's see. Let's see where we are right now. We've got a bunch of fish flying in the air right now, and let's do something else with our fish on the far left side here. Okay, we're going to go into transform, not free transform, but transform. And we got some more options over here. In free transform, we can rotate, we can scale, and it's kind of limited. But in transform, we got a lot of things we can play with. I'll just show you two of them. The distort tool, you can really play with proportion on a more robust pace. Okay, I mean, some people just love distortion for the sake of distortion. They're fun to play with. Don't get too hung up on them, okay? But, I mean, they're extremely valuable, and you can do some amazing things with these tools, okay? My only concern is people sort of, it's like salt peanuts, you know? You sort of like, you get into the fun of the tool, and you forget what the purpose was. And you sort of invent the purpose as you go along with what the tool will do for you. And that's like kind of wonky, you know. Okay, so I still have my fish, and I sort of gave up on the distortion because maybe I want to do something else with it besides distort it. Well, maybe I'll distort it in a different way. I'll use the perspective. Okay, and here is the perspective. Now this fish is like from far away, and it's another type of. This works better with objects that we're sort of familiar with in our daily working environment, like maybe distorting a car to look like it has a deeper sense of perspective. There's more depth to it, Okay, and so that's what you can do with the distort tool, and one more tool is the warp tool, and that gives you even a finer sense of control over what you do with the integrity of your object. Okay, and we can apply that. Okay, okay. So those are some of the things you can do with objects. Okay. And I know you're probably tired of staring at this fish for all this time, so we'll bring up a new item. So here we are having a great old time with our fish. And it occurs to me, well, you know, I kind of miss my old black and white fish. Where is my old black and white fish? What happened to him? Well, as you can see over here in the layers, your black and white fish does not exist anymore. So maybe we made a mistake that, geez, when we converted our fish to duotone, the whole theme became a duotone. Oops, yeah, that happens. Okay. Not all hope is lost. Let me show you what you do. In case you want to like turn back the hands of time and right or wrong, you could take this. Well, first thing I would do right now is open the history window. Okay, our friend the history window looks like this. Okay, and you can bury this in here. Our history window shows you every move that you've done since way back when it was a black fish. Okay, you can see that our fish is still selected, and I can go ahead and copy. Okay, copy this fish, go back to where we were before, make a new document, file, new, okay, RGB, that's cool. Oh yeah, give it a name. And paste. And there's our blackfish, safe from the pack of herding marauders over here. Okay. All right. So that's cool. All right. So, but let's see what we can do with our pack of hungry fish. Let's see what else we can do over here. I'm going to go back to our layer window. Okay, and I'm going to select one of our fish. The little guy on the right. Yeah, let's take the little guy on the right. And I'm going to go over here to the opacity slider. Okay, and this will literally change the opacity of the fish that is sort of off to the right. Okay, so if I wanted to see how that fish looks like in context of our yellow background, it looks something like that. And let's see, and this guy has, what's going on here? Let's see, hold on a second. 5%. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's something about the orientation. Let's see if maybe this order has anything to do with it. No, it doesn't. Okay. So by changing the opacity, we can start affecting the sense of depth in a composition, where things that are oftentimes things that are sort of far off in the background are viewed as slightly lighter in color saturation. Okay, so you can have some fun with the opacity slider in that regard. I'm going to change this this background from that yellow ochre color. I'm going to fill it in with a different color. Let's try white. Just give it back this old. Oh, you know why? I can't do anything with that. You know why? Because I'm dealing with a duotone mode. I'm still basically in the same neighborhood as grayscale. I really can't add white yet, unless I sort of change the original duotone or quadratone foursome, which I'm not about to do. So what I will do instead is sacrifice everything and convert this image from duotone back to RGB. Okay? I don't want to merge any of those layers. And our fish over here got a little more ghosted back, if you will, and I think it's behaving more like I intended, because I think, yeah, right. See? Okay. Remember back when I was using this slider when we were like in the duotone mode? It was something that was like really getting very bright. So there was something about the opacity slider and duotone that really wasn't making much sense, unless you live in the world of duotone. So we are in RGB. I'm going to select my layer number 1, and now let's give it a run. Okay, let's hit OK. Voila! There we are. Okay, great. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So now we are back to RGB, and now we can take. I think our black and white fish is still loaded, because although we can copy and paste, unless we copy something else, the thing we just previously pasted is still alive. So let's see if my theory is true. Yep, here's our old friend, the black and white fish. So now I'm going to go to Edit and Transform, or Free Transform, or if I just wanted to get traditional about it and give him So one of those kind of rotations, and he's a plump fish, isn't he? And do something like that. And okay, that's cool. But it sort of looks odd. It does look sort of odd, like something else. And I'm going to maneuver this guy so he's sort of like this fish is sort of in front of everybody else. And let's get him right over here. Okay. I'm now going to take that layer, click and drag all the way up to the top of the food chain. And there he is, leading the drive, okay? I'm going to hit Command T or transform. Remember, those shortcuts can save you a lot of time. Command T, or Control T if you're on a PC, and make this angled sort of similar to the other fish in the clan, in the pod here, I guess. What do they call a group of fish? A school, right. Okay. So now I've got sort of a very active a group of multicolored fish here. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to add another item here to our composition. We're going to have to place, and let's see what else we got here. Dots. I like dots. Let's use some dots. Okay. There's some dots. And there's the file name dots. Double click. And let's take something else. Just playing around here. Let's place an illustration of some people looking. Yeah, right. Oh yeah, mid-century American advertising, false ideals and promises. Yeah, okay, that rocks. Yeah, okay. They're looking at the fish or the dots. They're looking at dinner right now. Okay, so let's double click. Let's lock that in. So let's do a couple of things with our arrangement of items here. First of all, our dots and our oh yeah, dots and gawkers. I named them gawkers. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Okay, I'm going to hold down my Shift key and I'm select both of those layers. So I'm gonna do something to both of those layers at the same time, and that's convert from smart objects to rasterized objects. So I'm going to go up to Layer, Rasterize, Smart Object, and both of those layers are now rasterized. Okay, so now I can take my dots, and I'm gonna let's see what I'll do. I'll distort them. Okay. Ooh, dots. That's flying dots. Okay, great. I'm gonna double click that. I'm gonna hold down my Option key, and on PCs it's Alt Control. Click and drag. Okay, and if I hold down my Shift key, it'll drag in, perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical orientations. Okay, if I let go of the Shift key, I'm free to take this wherever I want to go, and so I will. I think I'm going to hide the gawkers. Okay, and I'm going to further distort this. Be going back into transform, distort again. In fact, I think what I'm going to do first of all actually is scale it. Hold down the Shift key to control the proportion. Take it down like that. Okay, I still have a little bit of work to do because this looks more horizontal, more in orientation than this does, and I've got a little more work to do here. So let's play with the distortion. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this thing, but we definitely want to match some of the qualities of the original. And let's see if we can do that. Okay, I don't want to fuss with this and suddenly it becomes a software issue. We want to do some really cool design. Okay, I'm sort of chomping at the bit right now. Okay, it's not perfect, but it'll work for now. Okay. Let's say I want this whole field of dots to behave as one thing that reacts to my beck and call. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, select the second layer of dots, and now I can move them around as if they were one. If I really get serious and I say, I just like this, period, this is like perfection, I go up to the little pull-down menu over here, and I will merge those layers that I've selected. And now they are one. Forever and ever, they are one. Okay? Well, not forever and ever, because you can always go back to history and change history. There you go. Okay? Well, maybe we'll just change history, leave history at that point. Okay, so now I can go ahead and I can change the colors of my dots. Going down to Command again and selecting the thumbnail, and I'm going to go up to Fill, and let's try a different color besides white, gray, or black. And I'm going to get maybe something a little brighter green or blue. Yeah, maybe periwinkle or something. Okay, so let's hit that. Let's hit that. Okay. Oh, I want something a little darker. A little darker. The values are too close. Go back in here. Transform. Sorry. No. Fill. Right. Fill. Color. And let's get just a wee bit deeper. Okay. Get a lot deeper. All right. There we go. Okay. Now we're talking. Okay. I've got my marching ants. I'm going to deselect them. I didn't fill them in anymore. But I definitely want to see what else I can do with these guys. Let's change the opacity, see what happens. Oh yeah, okay, that's an interesting effect. It's a little hard to see both, but that's why we have this adjustment slider. Okay. Another thing you could consider is going to the blend modality tool up here, and try overlay and see what happens there. That's an interesting effect. And I can move this around, and basically this screen of dots can occupy things immediately underneath it. You can see a little bit of that blue coming in here too. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. All right. Okay, so I'm going to sort of let this not overlay. Okay, just take it back to normal. Okay, and just give it a modest slider kind of thing going on. I'm going to drag it underneath everything. Okay, so it's sort of there. It's there. It's in the background. I can still move it around. That's fine. Okay, it's there. I can revisit it later. Okay. Let's go back to our gawkers. Okay, and the gawkers. Let's see what we can do with our gawkers. Our gawkers, we could. Let me think here. Yeah, okay. I can take these gawkers and we can make a clone of these gawkers just by doing the Option, click and drag, or Alt, Control and drag, right? And what I could do here is just for a very quick and dirty drop shadow, I can hit the Command key, select my group, fill it with a color. Maybe I'll just go for a 50% gray because it's easy right now. Okay, and then while it's all still selected, I go up to Filter, and I don't want you to start playing with filters right now. I mean, explore them, check them out, but please don't spend like the next 75 hours playing with filters. You'll have time, but this is like this is a design environment. Okay, these are just tools. You're getting familiar with them. Let's play with the blur filter, just to show you what some of these things can do for you. Gaussian blur is a pretty popular one, and I can adjust the blur, the degree of blur on this group, and let's move them around here a little bit. Put them sort of slightly overlap them, slightly behind. The best way to do this is really with a filter, with a feathering tool. Okay, But I'm just kind of showing. I just want to show you what some of these tools can do. And let's move this more so the sort of line here. Okay. And then I'm going to Command D, deselect them. And that's a very awkward drop shot. Let me show you how that looks. Okay. Very awkward looking drop shot. Let's get rid of all the fish. Oh, sorry. Sorry, ladies. And that's a very awkward looking drop shadow. But it's still, and we have a little bit of a weird outline over here. Okay. But, you know, I can play with the opacity a little bit on that to sort of control its intensity. But the real tool to use on that is one we can get into a little later. But it's a feather tool, and I forgot which one it's in right now, but I think it's under Select. Anyway, if you want to do a real drop shadow, okay? But that's just a little tool you can play with. That's all I'm really going to show you right now with the filters, okay? I'm very, very mindful about you diving into that and not coming up for air for a while, okay? Okay, so I'm going to bring up a couple of fish here, okay? And some dots, okay? And I'm going to show you a couple of ways of selecting items here. Selecting objects. And these are pretty important. These tools we're going to be working with. The rectangle tool, okay, which if you click on it, you'll see that the rectangle tool is controlled by the letter M on your keyboard. And you've got a variety of rectangles you can choose from. Come on, let's do it again. There you go. Rectangle elliptical tool, which makes you draw circles and ellipses. And these single row or single column marquee tools, which I don't use a lot of, but mainly these two, mainly the rectangle tool. So I'll select the rectangle tool and just do a click and drag, okay? And then do a copy and paste, or you can just do the option click and drag, okay? And what I've just done is copy the original, the image of the dots, but in its original intensity. So I can get rid of the original image and just have this interesting field of dots that's cut into a square vignette. Okay. So that's one way of sort of dealing with. It looks like they're sort of looking through a window here. Okay, a window. Let's get our fish lined up. Okay, fish is beyond the window. Okay, well, this could be fun. Another way of selecting parts of an image. So that's a pretty precise way. I mean, you're defining the edge of the square. You're defining the edge. Okay. But another way, which is not as fine-tuned the way of selecting things, is called a magic wand. Okay. We're just showing the basic tools here. Magic wand tool, which you can use access by W. Just click on the magic wand. Make sure you're in the layer that you want. I'm going to click on the original dots. And I'm going to click on one of the dots in that layer. Okay? And hey, look at that. Little marching ants all around that thing. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and click another one. Hold my Shift key and click on another one. Or if I don't want to click on all 16 or whatever dots, I'll go up to Select. And I'll go down to Similar. And now I've got all of my dots. If I turn off gals, there they are. Okay, great. I've got all the dots selected for whatever reason I want. Okay, I can go ahead and hold down the Option key, and I'm going to my Move tool now. Move tool first. Hold on the Option key, click and drag, and now I've got dots going all over the place. Maybe I want to take this field of dots and do something interesting, like maybe flop it over. I'll go down to the Edit menu, down to Transform, Flip Horizontally. Ooh, all right. Now we're meeting at the intersection of gawkers and fish. Okay, so I kind of like that. All right, I will deselect. Remember how to do that? Deselect, Command D. Okay, and so that's pretty cool, but um, it's not very precise. Let me see if I can dive in here. Okay, yeah, all right. This is not a very crisp, clean, sharp edge, is it? No, it's not. So, and that is in part to the fact that this original image really wasn't a very crisp, very high resolution image to begin with. But when you use selection tools like the magic wand, which is not very precise, not very exact, not like just having a square marquee or a square rectangle, then you risk having some soft edges. Okay, I'll show you another tool that, and if you want to do a, like select something that's more difficult, more detailed, like our people here, you can adjust the tolerance. So say I want to select the white pants. Okay, I got a tolerance of 56. Let's see what that does. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna need to select the Gawkers. Okay. Okay, that worked out pretty good. I've got more than I need. Okay, but I can change the tolerance level. I'll change it down to 12, and let's see what happens here. Oh, I only got a part of the pant. Okay, um, and you can always hit the Option key to remove. Okay, and the Option key would be I think the Alt key or the Alt Control key. Alt in PC. Play with it. And deselect to kill all the marching ants there. Okay. Then there's the lasso tool. This guy right over here. This is really kind of interesting. He's got this lasso tool has a couple of cousins here. Lasso tool, polygon lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool. Well, a lasso tool allows you to do like a free form kind of selection. Okay, so like that, copy, paste. Oops. Oh, right, I'm on the wrong layer. Get back on the correct layer. Copy, paste, and then I've got more dots. Okay, Command Z, undo. I don't need those dots anymore. Command D to deselect. Great. Okay, so I've got this free form lasso tool. I've also got the polygon tool. Polygon allows you to do geometric selections. So you can make polygons galore, geometric shapes galore. And you get close, and the little circle pops up. That little circle means that you're about to create a shape, a whole shape with no leaks. It's like a solid shape. You can fill it in with a color, gray, whatever. Okay, fine. Deselect. And mistake though, I kind of did it on one of my. I unintentionally did it on one of my layers. So I'll show you how I can undo that mess. I'm going to go to, let's see, undo select. Okay. I'm going to copy it anyway. Copy. Okay. Now I'm going to go to history. I'm going to go down to the place where the shape really didn't exist. It's sort of in theory, it's like marching ants, but it's not filled in. I'm going to go back to my layers, and now I'm going to make a new layer. Right next to the trash can, you can make a new layer right over here. Or go up to your little pop-up menu and make a new layer. Okay? Give it a name. Shape X. Whatever it is. Okay, give it a name. And now I'm going to fill that puppy in on that particular layer. Fill with my color of choice, 50% gray, and there it is. I can change its opacity, I can flip it over, I could make it do somersaults, whatever I want. I can even turn off the eyeball and hide the thing. Of course, I still got the marching ants, so let's deselect that. No more marching ants. But if I want my my shape X back, I got it. Okay, but now the last but not least for the ways to select an image, and probably the one that really kind of takes a lot of time to learn, but we're going to cover it in like 7 minutes, is the pen tool. Pen tool is like really, yeah, this gets a little bit of a learning curve, but put on your seatbelt, you'll be fine, you'll be great. Okay, pen tool, you've got, if you hold down the cursor, you'll see other pen tools. You've got the freeform pen tool, the add anchor point, whatever that is. I'll show you what an anchor point is. Delete anchor point, convert point tool. We're going to be working with these two tools right now, the pen tool and this guy, okay? So I'm going to, let's say I want to select her shoe. I want that shoe, okay? I'm going to hit my magnifying glass and go right into that shoe. Wow, stylish. Yes, it is. Very interesting. The pump. Okay. Let's look at this weird halo from the drop shadow, from the filter I used. So I want to make a, I just want to select that shoe. But let me show you first what you can do with our pen tool. Where'd it go? Where's my pen tool? Hello? Oh, here it is. Under here. Pen tool. Okay. I can always hit the letter P. See that? And I get the pen tool. Okay, so what I could do is I just want this area. Okay? I'm just going to make a rough, rugged selection here. I'm going to click my pen tool once in the image, and you see like a little black dot? Okay, that's called an anchor point. I'm going to make another one. I'm going to be making a shape. I'm going to click again, and now I have two dots connected by a single line. I'm going to go down over here, make another anchor point, another dot, and another line. Make another one over here, and then I'm going to come back over here to where I began. And watch this. Look what happens to the pen tool. A little circle, remember that? A little circle comes up. That circle is telling us that you are about to make a complete shape. A complete shape with no leaks, nothing else, baby. This is a shape, okay? That's called closing your path. I'll explain what that is. So, okay, so we have these this is your direct select tool. This is an important little ally. This little arrowhead over here. Click on this line we just made, and you'll see the original thing we just created with the anchor points and these lines. These lines are called paths. When you connect these paths together, okay, you want to make sure that when you're finished, that when you go back to your original point so that you can complete your shape, you see that little circle that you saw a couple of seconds ago. That means that you have made a solid selection. It is a done deal. If you do not see that little circle, that means that your path may not be completely closed, and depending on whether people are working on your file, could cause problems. Okay, so now you've selected a portion of the area. Okay, so to get rid of it, I can just hit my delete. Okay, and I can try another one. But this other one I'm going to be doing is involves really just getting that shoe. I just want that particular shoe. Okay, so I'm going to come in a little tighter on it. You can see how pixelized it is. Wow. So I'm going to make an approximate selection of this shoe. Hit the pen tool. Now, when we were just doing straight lines, that's fine and dandy. But look at the curve of the ankle. That's not an ankle. That's not even a cankle. Okay? I'm going to delete all these. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with I'll start with a straight line. Okay? Anchor point to another anchor point. Can you see that over here? Maybe not, but anchor point, path line, anchor point. And now I have to sort of climb up this. There's a little bit of a curvature over here on the part of her foot. So I'm going to click over here another anchor point, but now I'm going to drag. And as I'm dragging, look what happens to that thin line that connects the anchor points. It becomes a curve. And as I pull out on these straight lines that are sort of coming out from the anchor point, they're called handles. Okay, these handles are connected by those thin lines to the anchor point. I can pull on them to really kind of shape the curvature of my path. Okay, so this approximates the curvature of the ankle. I guess I'm going to be drawing an ankle and a shoe or something. So, all right, that's cool. So you notice the way I finished the handle. The handle is sort of following the direction of the ankle of the foot. So I'm going to click another line right over here. Boom. It's straight, but now I'm going to pull it so that it starts curving. Okay? And you notice that if I pull straight out, it just stays straight. If I pull the handle counterclockwise like this, I'm starting to get a bit of a curve. Okay, that's pretty cool. So now, let's say I just want to do just a cutoff of her feet over here. Okay, so I'm going to make another anchor point straight across. Okay, so I'm just going to go right over. I'm going to go down over here and sort of cut up this white area. I'm going to hold down my Shift key. Shift key will keep things horizontal and vertical. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and make another anchor point. And look what happened. I got this looping curve. Doesn't the program know I wanted a straight line? No, it doesn't. At least not yet. I'm going to undo that by hitting Command Z. And I'm going to go back over to this handle, and I'm going to hold down the Command key, or the Control key for PCs, and click once. Oops, wait. No, I'm sorry. It's hold down the Option key on a Mac, and it'll be the Alt Control key, Alt Control on a PC. Click, and now there's only one handle. I've broken the handle. That's a good thing, because now I can draw my straight line. Hold down the Shift key, anchor point, boom. Great. What does that teach us? If you're going to make a sudden turn, like a really sharp curve or a sudden angle, you got to break the handle. I've broken the handle. Now I can go down over here, put another anchor point, click and drag, and try to match the curvature of the ankle. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go back over here, hold down the Option key, break the handle again. You can see that little V next to my pen tool. That means you're getting a corner point. Come back over here, click, new anchor point, match the curve, hold down the Option key again, and again that's Alt Control for PCs. Click, break the handle, come over here, hold down the Shift key, boom, break the handle again. Okay, come down over here, match the curve. We're going to have, it's still going to be a tight curve. I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to break the handle again. Go down over here. Okay. Handle. I'm going to just click once over here because it's a straight line. Click once over here because it's a very soft curve, very subtle. Break it again, come up, break it, come over here. Okay. And I think I got a broad curve over there, so I didn't have to break the handle. Tight curve over here. Okay, come back over here. Very long, elongated curve. Pull, shape, break the handle, come around the tip, come over here. Elongated curve, subtle break. Break, curve, elongated curve. Break the handle, come up, and oops, let me see. What did I just do? I think I just went past it. There it is. Okay. So now when I see this little circle, that means I am about to close this path. So I'm going to click and drag to make sure I get the last curvature, match the last curvature. And ta-da, I have made a closed path, which is a pretty good thing. Now I'm going to adjust this closed path. I don't like this little bump over here. So I'm going to select my Direct Select tool, click on the path, and I see all my anchor points, and I can actually now move this up, maybe change the shape of the handle, like that a little bit, and that's pretty cool. So this Direct Select tool lets you kind of repair things that you want to repair. And if you want to add anchor points to give more control over the curve, you can do that by going down to Add Anchor Point. But I must warn you, the fewer anchor points you can get away with, the better off you are. Okay? I can make a circle right now. I'll make a circle with just 4 anchor points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can use my direct select tool to modify these. Make it more of an egg if I wanted to, whatever, okay? You don't need 17 anchor points. You do not need 17 anchor points. Granted, it would be a little tough trying to make this thing happen with with 3 anchor points, but try and work with as few anchor points as possible. You'll have smoother lines. It'll look more natural. Okay, so that's a very important lesson about using our good old friend, the pen tool. So I'm going to delete our circle, okay, but I'm still going to work with this guy, okay, with our shape here. So what I'm going to do now is open up another window called Paths. Okay, and with Paths, I see a layer here that has a little gray thumbnail and a little tiny black dot. That little tiny black dot is actually this path that I just created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Command key and click once, and now I've got my marching ants are back. Okay, so now I can go back to my layer that has the Gawkers, and I can select that. I can go to I can copy and paste it, or just do a good old-fashioned quick clone. And let me see here. Right, I'm going to do a copy and a paste. Okay, and there are the ankles, all by themselves. No, I don't like. No, this is cool. It's just strange. Just suddenly there's ankles, but not a body attached. Anyway, okay, so there we are. And now I can have fun with my ankles and feet. Okay, okay, whatever. Oh, that is interesting. The juxtaposition of the drop shadow, well, the shadow and the feet. I'm going to move the feet over here. I'm going to try and move the feet over here. Oh, because I'm using the direct select tool? No, I need the move tool. Then I can move my ankles. All right, now I've got movable ankles. Good, okay. So, one of the last things I'm going to show you over here is how to use the type tool, okay? So, our type tool makes type happen, okay? So here's our type tool, little letter T. You can click on that. There's also a character window, or a window called character. And we already have it up here. There it is. Okay, so you can actually specify type style, the point size, and let's go with optical letter space kerning, because I'm a typophile, type wonk. So now I've got my type tool selected, and I've got a cursor with sort of a vertical Y-shaped bar. I'm going to click here. Let's get the layer window up here. As soon as I click once, look what happens to the layers. I get a new layer that's dedicated to type. The little T. So I'm going to have fish. What else? What else am I going to say? But I don't like the yellow color, so I can go up here or down over here, because I've got color swatches. I've got a foreground color, I've got a background color. I could switch the colors, okay? And I have a red fish word, okay? So go down over here, select all. So now my word fish is selected, or I can just double click, okay? And I've selected the word. I can change colors, of course, and maybe make it green, darker green. Okay, and now I can move this into a different location. I don't like the letter spacing of it, so I'm going to change that, being that it's not a good idea to really kind of letter space lowercase letters. It's better to letter space out uppercase letters. They hold together better. So I'm going to go down to character, and I'm going to use this tool over here to adjust the kerning, or well, not kerning, but the letter spacing, or the tracking actually. And for large type, I like giving like a very negative tracking, so it looks like a solid tight word. So now I have the word fish. Okay. Um, I will enlarge this. I can do that over here by just manually entering in a point size. Okay. I can also um, go down to transform or open free transform and hold down the shift key to enlarge or reduce. So there's a couple of ways you can change point size. All right. Okay, so now we have our word fish set here, and you can do some pretty cool things with our word fish. But you know, it will once you're done with your spelling, your word selection, whatever. The last thing you could possibly do, if you want to like take this to the next level of manipulation, you have to rasterize it. But that's the last thing. You really have to know what you're doing now. But or just just say what the heck. I'm just gonna go for it. All right, let's just go for it, and just rasterize it. Okay, rasterize my type. So now I can actually go in here, and if I wanted to do a perspective, I can do that. Double perspective. Okay. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm just having some fun. And I'm going to leave it out here. Double click to lock it in there. And I'm going to, let's see what else I'm going to do here. Let's try our friend overlay again. Okay, so now the type is locked within our background image. Okay, so now that we're sort of at this point, I may wish to keep fish. I may not wish to keep fish. That's neither here nor there. Now that I have all these elements here that are rasterized, I can trim these elements using an eraser tool, which is right over here. Just hit the letter E, and you'll see the eraser tool. Okay. You can adjust the thickness or the width of your eraser, the hardness and softness of your eraser. Okay. And I can show you what we can do here with a medium-sized eraser. And let's pick a layer to disrupt. And there we have a disrupted layer. Okay, I can always undo it. I can come back in here and change the opacity. I can change the size of it. Maybe make it gargantuan. Okay, and you see what happens when you sort of control the opacity. Sort of make a little more circular vignette here. If you have a tablet, a pen tablet, then you can get even more control. Okay, so that gives you a couple ideas of what you can do with the erase tool. Okay, so compositionally, there's a few things I would do on this. I would probably manage where the eye goes first. Right now the eye is going right to the salmon, but it's also going right to this detail of dots. And I'm one who advocates really having like one entry point, one visual entry point, one focal point. So I'm going to grab our fish here. I'm going to kind of bring them up a layer, maybe a couple of layers, maybe have them top of the heap here, and but kind of bring them around over here. So it feels like it's sort of grouped together with everything else over here. And I'm going to change its opacity to maybe favor the dot pattern. Maybe the dot pattern is the first thing I wish to see. Maybe not. Maybe I can go back into the dot pattern, and maybe we just don't need the dot pattern at all. Maybe just the square. Maybe just the people looking at that square. And our fish is sort of the afterthought. Okay? And our gawkers, what's left of them, I think that is, yeah, that's the feet. Okay. And we'll take our, let's see, this is our drop shadow. I don't think I labeled our drop shadow correctly. Oh, here it is, Gawker's copy. Okay, so I've got the Gawker's copy. I'm going to hold down the Command key or the Control key if you got a PC. Select the Gawker's copy and the feet. So I've got two separate layers over here, connected when I held down the Command key on a Mac or the Control key on a PC. And now I'm going to go to the Transform tool, free transform, Command T, and just enlarge. Hold down the Shift key. Okay. And now we have this very mysterious, very odd sort of combination of images. Okay. These people with one pair of feet are looking at this field of dots. But at least I now have a clear focal point. I have a secondary layer of information that could be considered a visual hierarchy, okay? And the other interesting thing I wanted to point out to you is that my negative space, the area that surrounds these figures, is now a little more finely articulated, okay? The negative space is really an active part of the composition. Okay, so I'm done with this thing. Let's say I like what I've got, I'm done with it now, okay? So there's a couple of things I could do. I could go ahead and flatten the layer, or flatten the image here. And when you flatten the image, and ask you need to discard the hidden layers. Okay. Well, what if you change your mind? Well, this is like a last minute thing. You never want to do this unless you're really convinced that's it, baby, done. Open up your history tool, okay, and go back one step from flatten the image. So now we still have our layers all selected. So what I'll do is I'll save this. I'll save it as well, it's already saved. Test doc. I'll put on the desktop. Put it right here. I'll save that. And yeah, okay, okay. And now I'm going to go and flatten the image. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go do a select all. So now I've got marching ants all the way around the entirety of my image here. Do a Command copy, and then I'll go back to the file we had before. Or I'll just take the, I don't know why I duplicated this step, but just to show you, we can get you familiar with the history tool basically, and go back to the day when we did not have when we had all these layers, and now I'll turn everything off here. Okay, go back to the top, and then edit, paste special, paste into place. There's my image. Okay, so now I've still got my original file, and all that pretends, okay, or reflects, and the new thing I created. And I'm almost done, but now I can turn off my layer, my bottom layer here. Oops, no, I can't do that, because it doesn't make any difference now. I flattened everything. It went, when you flatten an image, default it goes to white. So now I can save for the web. Okay, so now this is where you assess what is the best format for your image. Well, I have some flat graphics, but I've also got a little bit of continuous tone graphics. So maybe JPEG at this quality level is the ideal thing, and I'll hit save. I'll give it another name, but it's a JPEG. It's already got its other name. Let me see here. Boom. Okay. So now I've got a JPEG that I can upload anywhere. If I open up my my folder here and go up to my documents, go up to this guy right here. Hit my date, and here's my test doc. Here it is, ready to roll, ready to upload, ready to go. Okay. All right. Let's close this and get back to there. And the last thing I want to show you is, let's say if I got everything selected over here, I'm going to use the magic wand to select all of my white. I'm going to go to similar to select everything that is white. Okay. Now I'm going to hit delete. And look what happened. We're back to our transparent background. Everything that is not an object or solid or filled in or not an object is now that gray and white checkerboard, okay? So now if I wanted to have this image with a transparent background, but I still wanted these gray and these colorful graphics, I would go to File, Save for Web, and then instead of using JPEG or GIF, I'd use PNG. And the PNG will preserve the transparency of your image. You can see the preview is already reflecting that. Okay, guys? Okay, I think that's enough to sort of get you going and poking around and starting to do the exercises. Okay, and that's it. So have fun with the exercises. Don't try and do everything at once. Pick a couple of things here you found interesting and sort of play with that. These exercises are flexible enough to work with wherever you are at any given point. Okay, you'll make the adjustments and you will do well. Okay, have fun.